In the face of Niguang's sudden attack, Shuiyu stood there and didn't move. She believed that Niguang would not harm her, and that Uncle Ni must have his own reason for doing so. Whoosh! The strong wind wiped the top of Shuiyu's head and flew out, but before the attack, a ray of black chi suddenly flew from Shuiyu's hair and hovered slightly in the air, flew towards the location of the ghost ancestor like an arrow from the string. This black chi escaped so fast that even Niguang couldn't stop it. He could see clearly that this black chi resembled a human form, with a twisted face like a ghost. It had been hidden in Shuiyu's hair just now, because it was both black and the aura was hidden. He is not able to immediately spot it for a time. By the time he noticed, it was too late. The wisp of black chi quickly escaped in front of Ghost Ancestor. Amidst Ghost Ancestor's strange laughter, he opened his mouth and swallowed the black chi into his abdomen. Don't you feel shameless to do this? Niguang looked at the Ghost Ancestor and shouted coldly. He. Guzu still smiled strangely. I don't need others to comment how this old man is acting. Niguang's face was gloomy, and he stared at the Ghost Ancestor for a long time before he waved his hand and said, Now this king don't have time to care about you, I will talk about this another day. Although he did not disagree with the Ghost Ancestor work on Shuiyu, it is obviously not the time to fight with the Ghost Ancestor. When the conflict occurred here, the Zilong not far away was already watching with interest, looking like he couldn't wait to see him fight with a Ghost Ancestor. Naturally, Niguang wouldn't do what he wanted. What's more, with his eyesight, it could be seen that the thing Ghost Ancestor does on Shuiyu did not hurt her, just eavesdrop on information. Finished. He turned to the Medicine Valley with a cold face. Young boy, did you hear what they said just now? On the other side, the Ghost Ancestor asked Yongkai in a low voice. I heard it. Yongkai had an unexpected look. Senior, when did you leave that thing on Shuiyu? Shuiyu was always carried by him. He didn't even notice when Ghost Ancestor make a move. Just when the old man gave you the shocking Void Beast core. Ghost Ancestor smiled triumphantly. What? The old man did this and made you dissatisfied with the old man? It won't. Yongkai chuckled lightly. It just make me feels that senior, you really look far ahead in the future. Ghost Ancestor laughed. Don't come here to flatter the old man. It's just that the old man is always alone. Always keep an eye on everything. Well, now that you have heard what they just said, then, the old man will count on you. I will do my best. Yongkai nodded, and didn't say too much. Outside the Medicine Valley, there was a moment of silence, and all the strong of the Void King realm were waiting quietly, just like Niguang. Zilong knows how to act next. For example, Kong Fa, Shu Wei and Meng Tong may not understand this place, but they are somehow powerful in the Void King realm. They both have extraordinary observation and analysis capabilities, even if they don't know how to enter the mountain valley safely. After Niguang and Zilong act, they can also see the clues. Then, Shu Wei took a look at Yongkai from time to time, wondering how Yongkai and Shuiyu survived surrounded by so many imaginary void butterfly. At that time, he used the two of them to delay the imaginary void butterfly and took the opportunity to escape, thinking that these two juniors would definitely die. He never thought that after a few days, he saw them appear in front of him unscathed. Zhu Wei can only attribute the surviving of the two to the Ghost Ancestor who came with them, thinking that it was the Ghost Ancestor who appeared to rescue them. Time flies. About an hour later, a strange sound suddenly came from a certain location deep in the huge valley ahead. The sound was like the sound of inhalation coming from something while it was sleeping. The sound is rolling, like thunder, like a drum, dull, and shocking the soul. Almost all the Void King realm. The moment they heard this voice, their expression is condensed. Niguang, Luolan, Zilong and others were even more energetic, and the Saint Yuan in the body secretly stirred up. In the next moment, the abnormal change emerged. There was a violent wind on the flat ground in the valley that was originally unpredictable. The gust of wind came from the outside and blew towards the depths of the valley. At the same time, the movement of inhalation became more obvious. Accompanied by the sound of inhalation, the 7 bright treasure light that had been covering the valley seemed to have received some traction, and they receded into the depths of the valley like a tide. In the blink of an eye, the scenery outside the valley was exposed to everyone's vision. Whoosh! At this moment, Niguang, Luolan and Zilong, the 3 powerhouses of the Void King realm, moved. All of them were like arrows from the string, chasing the ebb like 7 bright treasure light tide, and rushed into the valley in an instant. Seeing their movement, Kong Fa, Shu Wei, and Meng Tong, who had been watching, were still holding back. They used their body techniques, turned into flowing light, and lost in different directions. The ghost ancestor also laughed, sacrificed the 10,000 soul banner, and wrapped Yongkai and rushed forward. His cultivation level is high and profound. Among all the Void King realm powerhouses, only Niguang and Zilong can match him. Therefore, his speed is extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, he rushed forward for a full 5 kilometers. In the valley, there are many space cracks, large and small, and scattered everywhere. These space cracks are like scars between the sky and the earth, and they are eternally dotted there. But more space cracks are hidden, some can be probed with divine consciousness, some are without a trace. Both Niguang and Zilong carried artifacts that could detect the space cracks. At this moment, both of them rely on the artifacts in their hands, pushing forward, constantly changing directions, avoiding the location of the space cracks. However, the other Void Kings who hadn't prepared well in advance released their spiritual mind to the greatest extent to avoid danger. After only 10 breaths of effort, everyone's speed could be seen. Although they rushed into the valley at almost the same time, Niguang and Zilong were undoubtedly far ahead. The more exaggerated is the ghost ancestor. With Yongkai showing him the way, he didn't need to worry about the threat of space cracks. He could just follow Yongkai's direction and head forward, so it only took him a short time to surpass Niguang and Zilong, and then the two disappeared. This bastard. Zilong looked at the figure of the ghost ancestor and couldn't help cursing. The lost earth, it's unknown how long it will take before opening again. The spirit medicine contained in it are all ancient types that have long been extinct. Every time this medicine valley can produce a large number of rare medicinal materials, it can be said that whoever has the speed advantages can get a better results. He originally thought that his biggest competitor was Niguang this time, but he didn't expect the variable of the ghost ancestor on the way, and hit him by surprise. Is this idiot looking for death? Zedong, who was following Zilong, also looked forward with a look of stunned expression. Rushing in so fast, once they touches the hidden space crack, even Void King realm can't have a good life. Don't worry about them. Zilong snorted coldly. They wants to find death, so let them go. Yes. Zedong thought about it, and it was for the same reason. If you rush quickly, you won't necessarily get a good harvest in this medicine valley, and you might die quickly. Right now his heart is balanced. On the other side, Niguang, who almost kept advancing with Zilong, shook his head and sighed, and said, Shuiyu, that kid is too fierce. The guy named Ghost Ancestor doesn't know how dangerous this place is. How can they have a good ending? It shouldn't be a problem. Shuiyu shook her head. She knew what Yongkai and Ghost Ancestor relied on, but she didn't explain much. Only Luolan sighed softly. If Yongkai was present at this time, the situation would have been much better, but it was a pity that Yongkai was not with her. It's almost there. After the spiritual mind was released, there was no figure within a radius of tens of kilometers. The Ghost Ancestor suddenly slowed down, allowing him and Yongkai to be revealed. And there is a fragrance of medicine. Yongkai suddenly sniffed his nose and said with a shock. It seems that we could have the harvest as soon as we came in. Ghost Ancestor gave a low laugh, and then said with a solemn expression, Young boy, I will tell you first what I found in this medicine valley. Let's divide it by half. The old man will not take advantage of you. What do you think? Just as senior said. Yongkai nodded quickly. In this kind of place, although the Ghost Ancestor must rely heavily on Yongkai's space force, it does not mean that without Yongkai, the Ghost Ancestor cannot move, but if he is alone, his speed may be much slower. Therefore, the proposal of splitting the gains in half was still a loss for Ghost Ancestor, and Xianxia certainly would not object. Over there. Xianxia confirmed the source of the aroma of the medicine, and suddenly pointed in one direction. When the words fell, he rushed over there directly. Ghost Ancestor followed closely behind. After more than 10 breaths, the two came to the front of a fruit tree about half a person tall. The branches of the fruit tree were not dense, even sparse. There were only a few scattered cone-shaped leaves, and the branches of the fruit tree also seems fragile. And on the branches of this fruit tree, there are neatly hanging 4 purple fruit, only the size of a baby's fist. The fruit flashes with light, and the skin is crystal clear. You can see the sweet flesh inside. An inexplicable aura lingers around these 4 fruits, seeming to be emitted by themselves. The Ghost Ancestor was wrapped in black chi, but his eyes shot out substantive, piercing and energetic looks. He could see the extraordinary features of these 4 fruits at a glance. This is definitely a spirit fruit that is of great use to his strength improvement. Nirvana Holy Fruit. Xianxia had been observing, and at the same time, he was in harmony with the knowledge of the various spirit herbs in his mind. It took a while before finally confirming what the fruit was in front of him, and he couldn't help but shout a little. This is the Nirvana Holy Fruit. Ghost Ancestor raised his brows and asked in surprise, the kind of spirit fruit that can refine the great Nirvana pill? He had obviously heard of the Nirvana Holy Fruit and knew what kind of spirit pill it could refine. To be continued.